Hi guys, this is Habiba and welcome to another exciting segment of Viva's Canadian Journey. Before I get started, I would like to say a huge thank you to all my subscribers. During the week, I noticed we got to 1,000 subscribers. Woohoo! I'm super duper excited. Thank you so much. I do not take it for granted. Thank you to everybody who likes my videos, who shares, to everyone on Facebook and on Instagram, to everyone that makes a comment or a recommendation. Thank you so much. I really don't take for granted the trust that you have put in me and in Viva's Canadian Journey. A number of you provide me your personal information for me to make recommendation, and the fact that you trust that the information I'm giving you is legit and is real, and a number of you actually take those recommendations into consideration. I don't take this for granted, and I trust is really big for me, and this is one trust that, so help me God, I'm going to do my best not to abuse. Okay, so thank you so much. And if you're yet to subscribe, what are you waiting for? This is a fantastic time to subscribe. It's very easy to do. Just hit the subscribe button and don't forget to press the bell icon. Okay, I'm talking too much. My husband is telling me I need to start. Okay, so today's topic is one that was really hard to coin, because what I want to talk about is understanding the Canadian culture, because Canadians are very different from your home country. 3 things that you have at the back of your mind before you migrate to Canada. So let's get started. Number one thing, and very important for you to note, for you to have at the back of your mind, is that Canadians are an honest bunch. Honesty and trust are huge here in Canada. In fact, since coming to Canada, being here for over a year, the way I see trust now is very different. I see trust and honesty as a medium of exchange. So medium of exchange as a currency. You give it and you get back in return. Okay, and this is very important. Let me start by giving some examples. I think this happened the first day we got here. We got to Nova Scotia at night. So the next day we had a lot of things to do, getting our health card, social insurance number, getting SIM cards, and so we booked a bank appointment to open our bank account and to pay in the money we had on us, so we're not carrying it around. We booked it for about 4:35 p.m. We should have done it the next day. We were so tired, we were so knackered. We finally got to the bank. They were about to close, but they saw us. We did all the paperwork. So now we had to put the money in our bank accounts, So my husband did his and it was my turn. And honestly, I had counted that money. I had counted the money I had on me that I wanted to put in my bank account. And the lady at the till, she also counted the money. And our bank accounts were credited immediately. We got our bank cards. We go back to our Airbnb, and in about 15-20 minutes getting back, we had a phone call, and it was from the bank. And the lady over the phone was very apologetic, and she said she had miscounted, and the funds, when she counted, the funds were short $200, so there was an extra $200, and she was so apologetic. And in my mind, I actually thought I made the mistake, because I also counted, and she counted the same thing, but she was just really, really apologetic that they were doing their auditing or their, how do they call it, reconciliation at the end of the day, and they noticed $200 extra dollars. So how do we want that? Should they credit that into our account, or do we want to come and get it anyway? And for us, when I finished the conversation on the phone, I told my husband what happened, and we were pleasantly surprised. We're like, oh, really? Because I actually thought it was my mistake, but that was a good, should I say, a good welcome for us, because this was our first day. Fast forward a couple of weeks later, we had gotten a daycare for my daughter, and we're taking her to daycare. The day before she was supposed to start, I had actually gone in to see the daycare. I had a tour, and they gave me a list of documents that I had to bring, her birth certificate, passport, immunization records. And so I should bring it the next day when we're bringing her to school when she's starting. I got home, and for the like of me, I was just tired. And I actually searched for that immunization record, but I couldn't find it that night. It was, we had just moved in, so we had a lot of things were just all over the place. So I thought, you know what, I'll just go to school the next day, go to her school the next day and just explain to them that I have it, but I'll bring it. So we went to school the next day, and I explained to them that I really do have it. It's because we're new, it's somewhere. And the owner of the school was like, but we really, really need it. It's part of the, And so anyway, I saw the nurse and I explained it to her. I said, listen, my daughter has taken all this, this shots. I can tell you hands down. But there was still a bit of... So the principal reached out to me and she said, you know what, Habiba, if you tell me that you've done this, I trust that you've done it. I'll take your word for it. Okay, so your daughter will be able to start school today. However, we still need to see it. But since you say you've done it, she's taking the shot, I take your word for it. I trust you. In fact, when she said that I trust you the second time, I was shocked. And I think she could see the shock on my face. So she said, she looked at me and she said, you know what, here, this school, we operate on trust with our parents. We trust our parents, and we also trust that the parents are going to be upfront and honest with us. And for the fact that she said, I trust you twice, honestly, it just resonated with me. I told her, you know what, I'm going back home right now. I'm going to look for it. I'm going to bring it. She said, no, you can bring it tomorrow when you come and pick her up in the afternoon. But I stopped everything I was doing that day, went home and scattered the house till I found that document. Because I thought to myself, this woman that does not know me from anywhere just said she trusts me. And this trust, though, I'm not going to abuse it. I'm not going to throw it away. We're starting, like she said, they have a relationship with their parents. I said, this relationship was starting with this school. I want it to start on a good note and I want it to continue, and it might sound like as something little, but trust really is key here. The society is one that works on trust. Okay, I'm sure you've heard things like Canada is a credit society. Okay, so as an immigrant, you come here and you're opening a bank account, what's at the back of your mind is that you want to open a checkings account or a current account, as you may call it. And then the bank will offer you, credit cards. And the credit cards are for your good because this is a credit society. You need to build in your credit history and your credit rating. Now, you might be thinking the bank doesn't know you from anywhere and they're just giving you this money. Yes, they're giving you the money, but they're also giving you on the premise of trust that you'll be honest with that account. Okay, and it would be to your own benefit if you are, because if you're not, your credit rating will be affected. Let me give you an example. I worked in the bank. That was the first job I had when I came to Canada. And during my training, we learned about a product or a service called cashback. And I remember during that training, I kept on putting my hand up because I was like, what kind of service is this? So what cashback is, and let me use an example. So what cashback is, for example, someone gives you a check of $200, right? And maybe it's the weekend or it's a public holiday and the banks are closed, or you just don't feel like going to the bank. What you can do, if you have the mobile app of that particular bank, of your bank, you can pay that check in, cash it in, so to say, so pay it in and have the funds available almost immediately. So you take that check, let's say you take your mobile phone and go through the app. Now, once you start the procedure, one of the questions that's going to be asked after you scan, you're going to scan the barcode. One of the questions that will be asked is how much is the check you're paying in. Remember, this is automated, right? All the reconciliation is going to be done by the human beings in the bank the next day or whenever the bank is, open. And so they ask you, and you do have to, the check is $200, but then you go and you say you have $500. That's being dishonest, okay? And the next question might be, do you want these funds available? Do you need these funds now? And you say yes. Then $500 is available in your checkings account, and you think to yourself, woohoo, I have outsmarted the bank. I am plus $300 richer, and then you go withdraw the money or you just spend the money however you want. Now, you might be thinking to yourself that, yes, you have outsmarted the bank, but it's going to come back to bite you. So when we had this training in the bank and the trainer explained it explained this service, I quickly put my hand up and I said, this is one of the dumbest things I've heard. The bank is going to be losing a lot of money because some people are going to be honest. And she said, you know what, Habiba? As a bank, as an institution, one of our first values is trust. We trust our customers. She says we make this service available just in case, there's an emergency, it's a weekend, there's an emergency, and the customer really, really needs that money. And 99.9% of our customers are honest. Yes, we do have a few, but it's something the bank is willing to, but we trust our customers and our customers trust us, and it's something we do. And I was like, wow. And when I started working in the bank, I did realize that majority of the customers actually that do use that service and other services are honest. Yes, you have the one or two that but they're honest, they're trustworthy. And the thing is, if you think you are going to, you have bamboozled the bank or you have cheated the bank, you're the one that is going to pay for it, because immediately your account goes in the negative or in the red. Your credit rating has been destroyed, so to say. And credit history here is very big. Next couple of years, you want to buy a house, you want to get a mortgage. If your credit rating is not good, you're not going to get it. You want to get a number of things. Your credit rating has to. In fact, some landlords, if you want to rent a house, they would check your credit rating. Okay, so this is a society that is based on trust. Trust is the system from the government, from institutions, in the work environment, at school, your children's school. If your child is supposed to take a shot and you tell them, my child has taken a shot, they will take your word for it. But honestly, if they find out that hasn't been done, or something that happens and they find out that is going to affect you. The way trust is, once you lose it, it's going to take a long time to build it. It's like your credit rating. Once your account is in the negative or a check bounces or something like that, it's going to take a long time to rebuild that trust. So it's going to be for your benefit if you come with that mindset to say, you know what, I'm going to be honest. This is an honest and trustworthy society, and I'm going to do my best to be honest and trustworthy. Okay? Number 2 thing to have at the back of your mind, when coming to Canada, is that Canada is a very, very diverse country. Okay, statistics have it that 1 in 5 people in Canada were born outside Canada. Loads of migrants. Okay, loads of people from different cultures. I've said it before that the other day I met somebody from Eritrea and I was like, oh my goodness, where is that on the map? So you're going to meet a lot of people. Now, the general rule of thumb is that even though there are people from all over the world, people from, the other side of the planet that you did not even know exist, the general rule of thumb is everyone coexists peacefully. There has to be a peaceful, that's just the rule of thumb. Okay, and it would serve you well if you come with that mindset. This different people, different, values, different, culture, but everybody has to live together amicably. And just because you see people doing things that are different from the way that you're used to, does not mean they're bad or they're not doing things right. It just means it's your own way of culture. When we started going to our home church right now, I remember the first 2 or 3 Sundays, I was thinking to myself, during praise and worship, everybody was just calm, and I was thinking to myself, what kind of something is this? Are these people holy? Is their worship, is their praise getting to heaven? Because they were not, how we do in Nigeria now, they were not, everything was just, but then I just had to quickly, the Holy Spirit helped me to quickly adjust my mindset to realize that this is their way of worshiping. Just because I'm not used to it, just because it's not the same way of worship I'm used to back home, does not mean that they are less holy or less righteous than me. It just means this is their way of doing things. Okay, so I just had to, and other things that you come here and you see different culture, it doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they don't know how to do things. It just means is their way, is their way of life. Like when I go to pick my daughter up from school and they see me, they're like, oh, Habiba, the teachers do call me by my first name. The first couple of days I was shocked because back in Nigeria it was Mrs. Onwara or Madam or Zoe's mom, and then here it's like first name basis. I was like, oh, okay. you know, but it doesn't mean they're being rude. It doesn't mean they don't, it just means that is just their way. That is just their cultures. And the idea is not to leave your values or your culture at home. The idea is incorporate other people's culture as well without any, stigmatization, and to also keep your values. If you're someone who is used to greeting people, 100 times a day, continue. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're someone who instead of hi, hello, your own greeting method is good morning, good afternoon, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Continue. Okay, so it's not for you to drop your own culture or drop your own values. It's just for you to embrace other people's own and not be snobbish, Number 3, and very important, is that there is a Canadian way of doing things, and Canadians love and trust their way and their system of doing things. It does not mean your way of doing things is wrong or your format of doing things. It just means that they trust their system of doing things. Okay, have you ever wondered why when coming to Canada you have to take the IELTS exams? Even those coming from England that speak Queen's English, they take the IELTS exam. Or the one that really did my head in was the credential evaluation by West. The reason they do this is because they want to make sure that the English you claim you speak is equivalent to the Canadian one, or the degree you're bringing that you say you have is equivalent to the Canadian standard. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. You are coming to their country, you're relocating, you want to come permanently. And so they want to make sure that what you're bringing is at par with theirs. And it's only fair. Okay, and when you get into Canada, you're going to also notice that there is a Canadian way of doing things. There's a Canadian culture, a Canadian system, a Canadian format with so many things, okay? And it's those that come with the mindset that, okay, this is what these people expect, this is what these people want, let me do it. Those that come with that mindset will succeed. Let me give you an example. When we first relocated, we registered at New Immigrant Settlement Services, okay? And in one of the classes I attended, the lady was talking to new immigrants like myself, how to succeed with interviews and cover letters. So she was teaching us the Canadian format for cover letters and CVs and resumes. And I remember one other lady who was an immigrant put her hand up and said, no disrespect, but she has been working for over 20 years with international organizations, and there's a CV or format she's been using that has been successful all around the world, and she's not going to change her CV format. And the lady was like, okay. The lady looked at her CV and she said, if I were you, I would, kind of tweak it a bit to the Canadian format. But this new immigrant said no. So the lady left her. A couple of weeks later, we're still having the classes, this new immigrant comes and, finally wants to change her resume. She wants to make it, change the format to the Canadian one because she wasn't getting any success with the format she brought back home. And for me, I'm like, you've wasted 4 weeks or so. You should have just, changed it in the very beginning. But anyway, it happens. So there's a Canadian way of doing things, okay? Let's take driving, for instance. A lot of new immigrants come to Canada, and driving is one of the things that really gets on their nerves, because even if you have a gazillion years of driving experience from your home country, except your home country has agreement with Canada, once you come to Canada, you're going to redo the driving lessons, redo the driving tests. You're going to take 2 driving tests, the written and the practical one. No matter how many years of driving experience you have, once you come here, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to get full Canadian driver's license. You're going to have to take that test, and you're going to have to pass it. It's not a matter of I've been driving for 20 years. Okay, that's good now. And part of the test you take, like part of the written test you take, is learning about Canadian road signs, rules and regulation as it applies to Canada, not as it applies to your home country. And for that test, you have to study. There are 40 questions. You have to study and you have to pass. If you don't pass, you're not moving forward to the next one. Even before your road test, it is advised that you get a driver, an experienced driver from a driving school that will take you around to show you how to drive the Canadian way. Okay, if you decide you're just going to take the test without practice, trust me, you will fail and you will come back and pay and take the test. So again, it's their Canadian way of doing things. Doesn't mean that they don't respect your culture. It just means it's their way. They trust their way. They trust their system. Okay, so just 3 tips to have at the back of your mind before you come here, and hopefully this would help reduce the culture shock. Until next time, thank you for watching. Do take care. Hi, my name is Habiba and